It hurts. Like, it hurts my lungs when I smoke. And yet I do it.
Of pain. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Let's Read Silver Haze.
Hey.
A Silver Haze Warming Eve special day 2. I've got alcohol.
Oh, wait, did you get the drunks? Is that
I just
what
put
you're
a
doing?
little bit of alcohol in my tea because I need the fucking pain reliever for this goddamn
You should have
story.
told us. You should have told us.
I didn't put very much in there at all. I shouldn't get drunk off of that.
This chapter's pretty short.
Yeah.
Take a shot every time she misspells something.
We
would die.
Drunk a gallon of pee.
Author's note: because I put a lot of lore building into this chapter, I shortened it down.
Lore building, as in like a brand.
Except a new seed grown to compensate for it. Sorry, guys, Silver Haze.
On the second day of Warming's Eve, my silver gave to me 2 hearth-warming stories and some much-needed company. Tilde.
Tilda.
Silver woke up with a start in Twilight's old room, the purple alicorn attached to his side in a tight hug.
Jesus.
Oh, unicorn. Excuse me. Silver, with a capital I, noticed a horrible pain in his head and remember last night, but he got up anyways. Besides, he'd have much worse hangovers in the past and probably the future. Silver went downstairs, careful not to wake anyone up. He grabbed a grass of water and drank.
He grabbed a grass
Put
of
your
water
grasses on.
and drank.
He drinks wheatgrass because he's a vegan. Afterwards, he laid down on the
It's
couch.
just suddenly being
and rested
really
for a bit.
racist against Asian people now.
I guess.
What?
He had nodded off for Celestia knows how long until he was awoken by Twilight and Mr. Sparkle.
Mr. Sparkle. So this is Mr. Sparkles. That's you, Winter. Nero.
Nero.
Nero. Yeah,
Sir.
Time Knight.
Celestia. Until working... Until working off that hangover, boy.
He said, lying down on a different couch and putting his hooves to his temples.
Yar.
Silver said simply.
Yar.
Pirates.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yara.
After a while, everyone just sort of migrated downstairs. So everyone gathered around to chat and eat some breakfast. Parentheses, some pancakes made by the lovely Miss Sparkle.
Pink. Oh God, why?
And they said the lovely end. They should
End
only-
parentheses. And as everyone gathered around to eat, Cadence spoke up to ask Silver a question.
Is pancakes like bukkake with
I
batter?
hate you.
It's no, it's
it's
you have
with
a
syrup.
plate. You have a plate with pancakes.
Your
on
face
the center,
is the
and everyone
pancake.
is like grabbing a no. There's a pancake in the center of the table, like a plate of pancakes, and everyone has a bottle of syrup, and they're all just squirting it onto the pancake. It's a contact.
Oh,
It's a heartwarming tradition.
okay.
Hey, Silver. What was Heartwarming Eve like up in Alicornia? I know you didn't celebrate it, but you did. But did you have anything like it?
Hey, Muslims, what was Christmas like for you
What
guys?
was Christmas like in Mecca?
That caused Silver to give some pause.
Well, Cadence, we did have an Ascension Day. A day that to be thoughtful for our brothers and our sisters. On the ceremony unite today the face of hopelessness so that in the closest thing we have.
Every pony seemed very I would be very interested in this.
Tell us about it, Silver.
Nero.
I'm sorry, there are things that are...
What was it about?
What was it about?
Twilight. Let's just go with.
This seems really interesting.
This is difficult because there's no. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
they're in a row.
I
so you
was.
don't know what the fuck's going
I
on.
thought they were breaking off the song. Like, tell us about it, Silver.
me
What
more.
was it about? This seems really interesting.
Tell me more, tell
And then
me
he
more.
Silver smiled.
Looks like a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, I'll tell you the story.
Silver took a deep breath and began.
Well, if I have my history right, thousands and thousands of years ago, before the two sisters and before Discord, even before the days of Heartswarming Eve, if I did my research correctly, there was a powerful alicorn, so powerful that it possessed the power of every pony that ever existed. The alicorn was a giant, and it guided the weather waters miles below the surface of its realm. One day, alicorns was on this perpetual gliding trip when it came across a crystal. This crystal glowed with a brilliant brightness, so brilliant that the alicorn couldn't keep itself away, and it went over at it. The alicorn placed a hoof on the crystal and it glowed ever more. He could feel the power inside of him. He figured that crystal was the one the gods, so he grabbed the ground around the crystal and brought it up to the surface. But the surface of the water was not high enough for the other gods to see, so he raised it up even further to where it broke the cloud layer. The alicorn asked the other gods if it belonged to them, but no one owned up to it. The alicorn was confused and he went to touch the crystal one more, all of its energy. And his soul was sucked out of him and shrunk and fell into the ground, and floating pieces of land began to float down and bounce around the miles above the sea, and there the crystal broke into 6 other pieces and sucked some of the energies from the other elements, and thus the islands of Alicornia was made. Eventually grass started growing, as well as trees and other crystals, and now as the power core began to form around the alicorn's essence of one of the 7 elements, what happened to the alicorn that found the crystals unknown, but most agree that he became the first king, and has been told into his direct descendants.
Silver was breathing heavily.
It's their creation, man.
That was quite a mouthful.
Said Silver. He smiled as everyone, parentheses, Twilight, the history buff, was the most enthralled, parentheses.
But who knows if that's the truth anyway? It's just foretell.
Said Silver, leaving them with a bit of mystery.
Silver said fairly. Silver said and smiled as everyone agreed.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was thinking about that for a second, because just the amount of, like, you just had to do what I have to do, but in a voice. I felt really bad for you for a second.
I like the idea that he pauses and nobody responds, and then he repeats that, and that's where the next one is.
Yeah. Silver said with a smile as everyone agreed.
This is Twilight.
Oh, okay. Oh, God. Do you have any other good stories, Silver?
Twilight asked, and Silver nodded.
How about just one?
This isn't in quotes, but,
right.
well,
yeah.
Twilight, I think there is another one I could tell. It is not nearly as old. If fact, it was alive, or I was alive when it happened. It was back 2,000 years ago? Jeez. Yeah, that sounds right. The story goes like this.
Oh my god,
He's trying to tell it first in his head so that he can repeat it to them.
2,000 years ago was the final dragon and alicorn conflict. Dragons and alicorns have had bad blood since as long as any alicorn can remember. So after many wars with the dragons, we all agreed to finish the conflict off once and for all. Fun fact. The dragon are the only reason why the peaceful Alicornia has warmongers, and the war against dragons was only brought because the dragon didn't like us, and they refused to negotiate.
Of course.
I forgot about the warmongers.
Anyways, we needed to end it, so the dragons and alicorns agree to one last battle to decide who would win the war. I see what Nero means about the 6th grade English textbook. The battle was fought on a mountain ridge.
When I said that, like that, I was saying that as like legit advice.
And was the first experience of snow I ever felt, as well as many other alicorns. The two armies went at each other like nothing I've ever seen before,
They
and the dragons had been
had
using key tactics to win the war,
having sex all over the battlefield.
which
So they're using cheat
went
codes.
against our agreement for a fair battle. With the contract now broken, a bunha of alicorns went to cave in the dragon's fort in the mountains. Oh, it's Fortnite now. And we managed to get rid of all the evil dragons in the fort and win the war. End quotation mark, even though there was no beginning of that. Okay. Silver finished his story with a look of pride.
Wow.
Women use the power of lightning to destroy the dragons.
What?
Yes, yes,
Twilight
please.
was bewildered. So are we. Everyone's bewildered, okay? You're bewildered. The author's bewildered. Twilight cut herself.
Crawling in my skin.
Twilight cut herself.
I'm like on the verge of pissing myself when we read this. Like,
God.
Yeah,
Oh,
Twilight cut herself when she saw Spike. I can't believe I just read that. What the fuck? Who had a shocked expression. Yeah, me too.
Please understand, Spike. These
wait.
dragons
I think
were
this
ruthless.
is a twatlet.
I guess.
No, I-
ain't fucking.
Well,
yeah,
oh
Twilight,
no,
go.
no, yeah, it is. No, it is Silver.
Okay. Please understand, Spike. These dragons were ruthless, and the war was the only option. They're nothing like you. They're filthy, thieving dragons. You know, but some dragons are very nice people, I'm sure. They were vicious creatures that would kill any pony and steal their babies without a second thought or hesitation.
This
Oh,
seemed
God,
to
you're
reduce Spike and
fucking
Twilight
shite.
shock.
If they ever whistled at a woman, we'd lynch them.
Wow.
But they still didn't really like the idea of killing a bunch of dragons despite their tendencies.
Why don't you understand? All dragons are thieves and crooks and violent. We had to wipe them out. They
No.
deserve to die.
Just
That's why
understand,
we have to
like,
give them higher prison sentences for everything.
I mean, the Germans really didn't like the idea of killing a bunch of Jews and gypsies, despite their tendencies, you know.
But what about the young drakes and the eggs?
Spike said quietly. Silver looked down.
Oh, you fucking genocidal asshole!
Oh my God! What?
We had no choice, let's put it that way. I do not regret what we did, not one bit.
What?
The table was very quiet. This is what Christmas is all about.
For real, for fucking real. He's
The
fucking
table was very
Kratos.
quiet.
He's Kratos.
Okay.
I killed them all. I have no regrets, boy.
So, Dad, what happened to your other family? And then he's like, boy. I should let you know. I don't regret killing my family.
No regrets, boy.
The table
None
was very
whatsoever.
for a
In
long
fact,
time.
you were getting on
As
my nerves
everyone
to the point I wish I did
Just
it
kind of
with you.
slowly ate. Some played with their food. Silver, however, still was sitting up with a proud posture. They might not like it, but he saved hundreds of lives.
Dear
After
God.
breakfast, it was almost time to go, but Twilight wanted one last look at their room before she
Thank-
left.
The freaking Hitler
guy's-
family breakfast.
Yeah, this guy is like the fucking biggest monster. He just talked about murdering a bunch of fucking children, like stepping on the necks of children and punching pregnant women until they have miscarriages. And then, like, as everyone else is like really awkward and not liking it, he just leans back and is like, "I am proud of what I did."
Yeah, after breakfast, it was almost time to go, but Twilight wanted one last look at her room before she left. Who knows the next time she'd see it? Maybe a year or two. Why can't they visit all the time? I don't understand. How long of a train ride is it?
It's too much to write those characters.
Twilight rummaged through her drawers. Okay. Looking at the old... That's mini Rendo. Looking at the old scrolls and notes from their childhood, she picked up one scroll and read the title.
God, it's gonna be fucking worming spell.
She vaguely remembered practicing this one, so she read the description.
Keeps you or someone else magically warms for a certain period of time.
I'm
I
just
like that
imagining.
that there was no misspelling. That's
Wow.
just how they taught children.
That's the flavor text on a
No.
spell in Dark
I
Souls.
like the idea. It's in like crayon, and she had to, and it's like notes that she took in class.
Oh my god.
Keeps you or someone else magically warms for a certain period of time. That's gonna be in my D&D game.
That's just called war.
Twilight fucking smiles as she thinks about warming up the genocidal fuckwit.
Twilight smiled and giggled to herself.
I bet Silver would love this.
She took a few moments to practice the spell and slips the paper into her saddlebag and went to the send-off.
Meanwhile,
the
Silver is
fucking prodigy, the best magician, like magic user in the fucking world, has to practice a few times to use the most basic level spell ever.
also. Meanwhile, Silver's just standing at the station, going,
Yeah.
"My hatred keeps me warm."
Well, think about it. Like,
Boy.
Twilight's cutie mark is magic, so maybe that's why she's so good at magic.
He's not stuttering this
Oh
time.
god, he really is Kratos. He's a like Kratos in the first 3 games. Like he's a psychotic asshole who bangs everyone every woman he comes across, murders the shit out of giant monsters, and then talks about how he has basically no regrets for anything he's done, and murders anyone who basically questions him.
Yeah, he's
Boy,
violent. He's got freaking bipolar disorder, and he's a wife beater.
Yeah,
Basically.
I'm just waiting for the scene where like he finally snaps and decides to kill Celestia, and then like Twilight gets in front of him, and he runs his sword through her, and instead of apologizing, he just goes, "Why did you get in my way?"
What's up with that?
Even Guts wouldn't do that.
Fucking Kratos does.
Yeah. Oh, I lost my place now.
All right,
Just took a few moments to practice the spell.
It was good.
It was the silver line.
It was good to meet you, Mr. and Mrs. Sparkle, even though you're yellow belly hippie crap.
Said Silver, as he shook Mr. Sparkle's hoof and kissed Mrs. Sparkle's hoof. Twilight
his
joined him, and after saying goodbye to Shining and Cadence, they went on their way to the train station. Oh, we're almost done.
Yeah.
Silver stepped out into the... Wait. Okay, yeah. Silver stepped out into the cold of Chanterlot, preemptively shivering.
Canterlot.
But when he stepped out, he didn't feel cold, but instead a comforting warmth that enveloped him. Before he could say anything, Twilight spoke up.
You're a genocidal asshole.
It's a magic, and I'm not even using the spell on you. Your anger at the dragons is keeping you warm. No, it's a magical warming spell I found in my room, so you don't have to freeze.
Twilight and Silver boarded the train, leaving Canterlot behind once more.
Like, here's the problem. They didn't even have to have the scene where she found the spell, right?
No.
Yeah.
They could have just had it. Oh, I found it in my room.
But then that would actually
It gives
open
Twilight
up
agency.
a new plot hole of why wouldn't she have used that spell before? Because that would be the one glaring issue with the story.
With this story of a genocidal.
What do you mean?
rapist fuck.
It's
All right. Anyway, so
Would you mind if I just gave a bit of context to what we're reading here?
please throw that
So,
out there.
if I go on the YouTube channel that we're going to post this on, right, and I go to the last part of this, and I look let's see, where is it? How many views does that have? 126. Okay. I go to the chapter we just read. How many views does it have? 92. We are essentially doubling the amount of people, minus ourselves, who are going to be experiencing what this is saying. And it's like on the other side of it, from where the author is. On the flip side, when they freaking dropped this onto the internet, there's twice as many people also going, what the fuck is going on?
And the internet, a magical fucking thing.
Don't post your terrible fan fiction online.
It will
Get an
not-
editor.
Yeah.
Ask your friends to read it.
Get your
Unless you're
boyfriend to actually continue to help you instead of
No,
like
not your
firing-
boyfriend.
No,
Screw
remember
that. Get your mom to do it.
Well, remember, like her boyfriend helped down the first, in the first
I
chapter.
don't
It was
think
fine.
that's a story you want your mom to read.
yeah, like
Maybe not right about that then.
let's be fair
Yeah,
here.
but your fetish.
If you upload something like this to the internet, you kind of, have to be ready for the harshest of criticisms. Welcome to that.
True.
Well, they may not know that, though.
Well, till then,
Well, they
though,
do now.
Yeah.
we will see you guys in the next episode of Let's Raid.
Filled with
Silver
more
Haze.
rape and genocide.
Bye.